Hello and welcome to the second episode of Creative Genius Exposed, the show that can turn anyone into a creative genius overnight. So, what does stand-up comedy and branding have in common? Your mum, that's what. Okay, that made no sense. Clearly not cut out for this. So let's skip straight to the wisdom, shall we? You see, in the world of branding and personal branding, the key is to stand out from your competitors and to be remembered. And so many businesses forget this. If you can't stand out and you can't be remembered, you're screwed. So today we're going to show you my comedic redirect creative branding solution. It's quite a mouthful. That's what she said. A comedic redirect is the name I give when you're expecting one thing and you get another. It simply takes your assumptions and your expectations and does a 180 and flips it on its head, leaving you in a state of surprise, often making you do a double take, and perhaps even resulting in a good old hearty chuckle. For example, we all have expectations and assumptions when we hear the following words. Why did the chicken cross the road? In fact, this is one of the most famous examples of a redirect in comedy. In fact, when you first heard this joke, you were probably expecting some clever punchline. Instead, you got a very plain, logical answer, and therein lies the comedic redirect. These days, however, the expectations have changed. We've all heard the to get to the other side answer 1,000 times. So if I was telling this joke now, here's a redirect that I would do. Why did the chicken cross the road? So that its subjects will view it with admiration as a chicken which has the daring and courage to boldly cross the road, but also with fear. For whom among them has the strength to contend with such a paragon of avian virtue? In such a manner is the princely chicken's dominion maintained. All hail our chicken overlord. That might be how I would do it. It's a bit of a redirect. So, it's that time of the show again where we unbox and dust off our Emo Einstein. And Emo Einstein is going to bring you today's creative genius formula. You see, today the formula is to take the common assumption or expectation of an industry or niche and instead go the other way. As always, you should write that down, get it tattooed somewhere upon your person, or simply have some way of ensuring that you remember it. You see, this is my blog, deanhunt.com, and when I first got into the world of online marketing, I set this up and then I looked at all the other major online marketing and business blogs at the time, and they were all the same. They all had pictures of dollar bills and hot women and fast cars and surfing and all the cliches that we've since come to hate. So I asked myself, what would be completely different to this? And that's when I branded myself and my website with cartoon killer bunnies. It makes no sense in the online business world, and therefore it makes perfect sense in this crowded market. But Dean, you say you're known for killer bunnies, but in episode 1, I do declare that that you But Dean, you say you're known for killer bunnies. Dean, you say you're known for killer bunnies, but in episode 1 of Creative Genius Exposed, which, by the way, was both entertaining and informative, so thank you very much, you handsome British little minx, you. Where was I? Oh, yes. In episode 1, Dean, you focused on not a killer bunny, no, you focused on a hamster wearing a top hat and a mustache. So, Dean, does this mean your branding is changing over to the dark and twisted world of monocle-yielding hamsters? Well, that's a good question, fair reader and viewer, and to answer, we don't normally do this here on Creative Genius Exposed, but I'm going to share with you a behind-the-scenes look at what happened shortly after the show finished filming last week. Here we go. Oh, the tragedy. As you can see, this was a terrible tragedy. So if you would like to send in a few words to share how the hamster with the top hat changed your life, send them to contact@deanhunt.com, and I will absolutely read every single one out in future episodes. Disclaimer, I won't read out your words in any future episodes. Okay, so if your example glands are still thirsty for more, then let's head over to the world of wine for a taste of how one guy used a creative redirect to grow a multi-million-dollar empire. This is Gary Vaynerchuk, and he noticed that the assumptions and expectations of the wine world were that the experts were stuffy and boring, snooty, pretentious, and judgmental. Frankly, people were afraid of wine. They were intimidated by it, in fact. And so he brought something completely different. You see, Gary's redirect was that he was loud, he was funny, he was charismatic, he was young, he cursed in his videos, he compared wines to superheroes, he put rocks in his mouth. He was a much-needed redirect for a very stale industry. And he's since been a bestseller. He's been featured on Conan O'Brien and Ellen and much more. Heck, he's even had the great honor of doing a video interview with yours truly, the lucky guy. So let's do a hypothetical example. If you were, for example, a lawyer and you wanted to stand out with your branding, what are the expectations of the world of law? Well, the expectations could be that lawyers are stuffy and boring and very serious. So what about if we created a fun law information site where the main expert is perhaps a dog with a tie? Kind of goes without saying. Let's call it LassieTheLawyer.com or something like that. The information could still be hugely valuable, but it's going to stand out and be remembered above everything else for sure. You've now seen how I have used a comedic redirect to do very well for myself in the industry. You've seen how a guy from New Jersey shook up the world of wine. So the million-dollar question here is, how can you use this creative hack to brand yourself, your startup, or your business? What are the assumptions and expectations of your niche? And how can you go in a completely different direction? I'd love to see what you come up with. You can reach me as always at contact@deanhunt.com or tweet me up at deanhunt. If you'd like me to personally brainstorm or consult with you or your business, put "All hail our chicken overlord" in the email subject line, and that way you're guaranteed to grab my attention. So until next time, stay creative, and remember, next time someone tells you a knock-knock joke, slap them across the face with a frozen chicken.